What is up, fellow nerds, and welcome back to the Dapper Snapper Gaming channel, and welcome back to How Do I Want to Do This? This is our series where we take a look at all playable options available to players in Dungeons & Dragons 5th edition, then we rank them on a scale of 1 to 10 and either build them or fix them depending on how they rank. Now today we begin our talks on the Transmutation Wizard, the penultimate wizard of the 2014 subclasses, and I am looking forward to finishing this thing up. But we can't do that without finishing this out strong, and Transmutation is ready to change things up, and hopefully it will be done in a meaningful way. But before we jump into things, make sure to leave a like on the video and subscribe if you haven't already. We are, I believe, less than 10 subscribers away from our 5,000 subscriber goal, so make sure to help me out with that. And of course, we will be having a special coming up pretty soon once I get all of the preparations done for that. And yeah, and of course 2024 stuff is coming up very soon as well. It's an exciting time, so I'm looking forward to all of that. Make sure to share the video with your friends, click the bell so you're notified when new videos are uploaded, all the YouTube things. But yeah, today we're talking about the Transmuter Wizard, and this one is interesting, right? It's all about changing things into things that they weren't before, and that definitely sounds very powerful. There are a lot of spells that fall into that category that are very, very powerful. You know, haste, slow, polymorph. There are a ton of amazing options that are within that spell school, but how good is the subclass? We're gonna have to find that out today. Starting off at level 2, we get a couple of features, and of course, first off, we get Transmutation Savant, and this of course allows us to copy spells into our book that are of the Transmutation school, and it makes it a little bit easier to do that. Again, I'm not gonna be ranking this feature. I haven't done it for any of the other subclasses that came from the PHB, so we're gonna skip over this one, but yeah, it helps out with that. Next up though, what a little more important is Minor Alchemy, and this is kind of our signature ability, at least here at the beginning, and this is going to let us transmute things just as advertised. So with this, we can take an object that is made out of wood, stone, iron, copper, or silver and transmute it into a different one from that list. We have to take 10 minutes in order to do that, and it has to be up to 1 cubic foot of material. We do have to concentrate on this as if it were a spell, and this lasts for 1 hour, and afterwards it changes back to what it is that it was before. This is definitely an interesting feature. It definitely does transmute things. For those of you that are familiar with Critical Role, of course, Caleb was this subclass. And so, of course, it was taken that wooden things that looked like coins, turn them into silver for the time being, and then, you know, you give them to people as payment, and then you drop concentration, and now they're wood again. So this definitely is going to lead to some crime, a lot of crime, but how useful is this in the grand scheme? I would say just because of the limited nature of it, it takes 10 minutes, so there's no instantly doing anything. It only lasts for an hour, and it does hold up our concentration. Now, in fairness, we weren't going to be doing this in combat anyway, most likely, and all of these restrictions are really to make sure that it can't be used in combat, but either way, I think there are just a lot of restrictions on this, and I would want this to have been some like fun little feature that allows you to kind of instantly turn stuff into things, but I don't know, concentration, having to be something super small, it's just, there's a lot that's holding this back to me. So I really don't think I can give it any higher than a 6 out of 10. I just think it tries to be fun and then takes all the fun away in the second half. So it's whatever. At level 6, we get Transmuter Stone, and this is a handy little object that does possibly a bunch of different things. So with this, we can create a stone that we can put in our pocket or give to a friend, and it does take 8 hours to make this. We can then take one of the following benefits and attach it to this stone. Number 1, the creature that has it has dark vision out to 60 feet. There's an increase of 10 feet to the movement speed. There is proficiency in Constitution saving throws, or there's resistance to acid, cold, fire, lightning, or thunder damage, which can be chosen when we make the stone. Now, every time that we cast a transmutation spell that is leveled, we actually can change the effect to a different thing as long as the stone is right on us. And if we create a brand new stone, this one is going to stop working. This one is interesting for sure. So if we don't have dark vision, if we're a human or one of the other many races that do not have dark vision, we can now give ourselves dark vision, which is cool. We can run a little bit faster. We can have proficiency in con saves, which is cool. So if you don't want to have to take something like Resilient Constitution, this can give you that, which is great for concentrating on spells. Or we could grab one of those really cool resistances. Ultimately, though, again, I feel like this is still a little bit lacking in power, right? We can only get one of these at a time. And so you're still going to have to try to build in a way that gives you the other ones, because juggling things like this, it can be pretty costly, right? Because the one time you choose dark vision in the dark cave, then you may have wanted con saves, right? And yes, you can switch this up by casting spells that are first level or higher, and there are plenty of options to do that. But that can be pretty costly as a wizard, right? This is our most valuable resource, being spell slots. And so having to do that just to get the benefits of Resilient Constitution is kind of rough, or get the benefits of the dark vision spell. So yeah, there's just not enough here to where I'm getting all that excited about it. I just don't think it's all that great. At best, right, it's allowing us to use a first level spell slot to kind of cast dark vision, which is a second level spell slot. So in that way, I guess you're saving a little bit, but either way, I think this is another 6 out of 10. I just think it does fall a little bit short in just how well it's going to function. I think it's going to be juggling too many functions at once for you to try to leave these things out of your build in order for this to make up for it. And then in order to make sure that it can juggle all of those things, you're going to be spending a lot of spell slots. So to me, I don't see this being quite as good as it sounds on paper. At level 10, you get Shape Changer, and this is very interesting. It definitely gives you one of the best spells in that spell school, which is Polymorph. So you get Polymorph for free if you didn't already have it, and if you didn't already have it, what are you doing? It's very late for you to not have Polymorph, and now you can cast it without expending a spell slot, which is great. Now, when you do that, though, you can only target yourself, and you have to transform into a beast with a challenge rating of 1 or lower. When you use Polymorph in this way, you can't do so again until you finish a rest, though you can still cast it normally using a spell slot. This is interesting, right? We would have taken Polymorph anyway, at least 99% of Transmutation Wizards would have. So me getting it for free here isn't all that amazing. And then it's like, oh, you can cast it without expending a spell slot. That's great. Until you realize that it's super, super limited, right? Challenge rating 1. That's very low. We are level 10. Yes, Direwolf is great. Giant Eagle, a lot of fun. There are plenty of challenge rating 1 creatures out there. Ask the Druid. There are plenty of those that are out there that can be okay, right? But like I've talked about with Druids and that kind of thing, this falls off pretty hard, right? And challenge rating 1 at level 10 is pretty bad. Now, this could be used for if you want to turn into a mouse to get into a room that maybe you weren't supposed to be in. Maybe that way, but I mean, and yes, it saves you a 4th level spell slot, but still, I just don't think that this is as impressive as what it sounds. I think that there is just a lot to be desired here. And so again, I give this a 6 out of 10. I'm normally not this consistent on what I am giving things, but like I said, you already get access to Polymorph. You probably were already taking Polymorph. And so the only benefit here is to be able to cast it on yourself once per day on a creature that is CR1 or lower. I don't really care all that much, honestly. And honestly, I feel like 6 might be a little high, but I'm sticking with it for the sake of consistency. So it is what it is. Finally, level 14, we get Master Transmuter. And so hopefully we will be able to make our Transmuter Stone just that much better. So with this, we can choose one of 4 different options to put into our Transmuter Stone. Now, once we use one of these options, the stone is destroyed, but hopefully it is going to be worth it. The first option is Major Transformation. We can transmute one non-magical object that is no larger than a 5-foot cube into another non-magical object of similar size and mass and of equal or lesser value. And of course, we do have to spend 10 minutes in order to do do this. Next up, we get Panacea, and this removes all curses, diseases, and poisons affecting a creature that we touch with the stone. The creature also is going to regain all its hit points. Next up, we get Restore Life, and this casts Raise Dead on a creature that we touch with the stone without expending a spell slot or needing to even have the spell in our spellbook. And finally, Restore Youth. We touch the stone to a willing creature, and that creature's apparent age is reduced by 3d10 years. However, this does not actually change the lifespan of that creature. There's some interesting magical things going on here, right? Of course, we can change an object around, but notice that it has to be of equal or lesser value. So this is actually even more limited in that way than Minor Alchemy was, because we can't turn wood into silver, right? So yeah, it's even more limited in that. So you can turn one piece of wood into a different shaped piece of wood, I guess, and it's slightly larger. That's it, right? It's very limited, right? It's very, very limited. But I don't know. Maybe you'll find a use for it. I don't know. Panacea, not too bad, right? It definitely has its uses if something is very, very low and has some kind of effect that's on it. I don't know. Maybe there is an option for this, and it could be great. Maybe something is down, making death saves. Maybe it was poisoned or something like that, and you just pop it back up to full. Could be useful. I definitely think that this could be good, and that's with an action, so I could see that. Restore Life, again, not too bad. Being able to raise dead, that's not bad, right? And of course, we don't have to expend a spell slot or need to have that spell in our spell book, which is pretty cool. Now, it doesn't say anything about the material component, so you may need to talk to your DM about whether or not you need the material component, or if the stone will sub in as your material component. I think that is a little unclear, but I mean, and technically the stone is going to be consumed by the spell, so technically it is a costly component. Yeah, there's some weird stuff with that, so make sure to talk to your DM about that. And then Restore Youth, that is completely a ribbon feature. It's the creature's still going to die at the same time. You're not going to make this creature actually live longer. It's just going to look younger, right? So this helps out a very vain king or queen or whoever, but otherwise not really a whole lot of use there. Again, ultimately, this is probably the best feature we got, but not by a whole lot. Panacea and Restore Life are the only ones that I think are useful, and even then, they're tough because it's one per long rest, and then you lose all of the other benefits that you could have had with your Transmuter Stone. You are giving up your 6th level feature by using your 14th level feature, and that is something I have talked about in the past that I do not like in design, where a feature actively either overrides, gets rid of, conflicts with, whatever it is, another feature in the subclass. And this is in direct conflict because it destroys what it is you need in order to use your 6th level feature. So now you are down to Minor Alchemy and you're down to Shape Changer. So whoopee, you can polymorph yourself into a CR1 creature once per short rest, and you can change some stuff into some other stuff as long as it's really tiny. I'm not a huge fan. So yes, while those features are useful, the drawback is pretty severe. I'm going to give this another 6 out of 10 as it lands right in the middle. So what do we think of the Transmutation Wizard? Well, I don't think it's going to be any surprise what I am ranking this, but we're going to draw it out just in case. This is this subclass is very not great. I'm not a huge fan of this subclass. You look at this thing on paper and honestly it sounds great, and there are so many spells that are out there that are Transmutation School that are absolutely amazing, right? I mentioned them at the beginning. They are absolutely incredible. However, there is nothing in this subclass that affects casting spells at all outside of casting Polymorph on yourself for a CR level 1 or lower. That is not good. That's not good. And there are so many others that affect how you cast spells, right? Evocation allows you to cast spells around your allies and they don't get hurt, right? I have bashed on that feature a bunch, but it's still better than anything we get here. There are so many things that are left to be desired with this subclass, and then of course with the 14th level feature, it actively gets rid of your 16th level feature, which also really sucks, and you got to spend 8 more hours once you finish a long rest, mind you, so 16 hours at minimum in order to be able to do this again. This is just, it's tough. It's tough. There's just so much that could have been done better with this, and it just falls flat. It's a 6 out of 10, right? I ranked everything 6 out of 10, duh. So it is going to fail. Here we are at the very end, and we're having another failing wizard. That is rough. I know that some people are going to definitely disagree with me in the comments, and you are welcome to do so. I would love to know why down in the comments below, but we're going to be fixing it later this week, and I'm looking forward to that. So until then, stay safe out there, stay healthy. We'll see you later. Bye-bye.